So, what's up guys? It's Misu-chan here with my first drawing commentary. So we're just gonna pop in and get this started. There are a few people that asked me some questions, and I'm also gonna talk a little bit about myself. And first thing you're gonna notice is, yep, this is me. This is your little Misu-chan here. Look at my cute face and all of my cute anime nerd stuff. I'm such a nerd. Anyone recognizes every single one of my little memorabilia that's around me in the picture? You guys are awesome. There's one little one that I'm going to point out that you may not recognize or know what it's from. It's there. You just gotta think real hard of any maybe game or movie or anime, whatever that you've seen. So let's just get started. I've already did the outline and I did the background because for me, backgrounds are hard. So I always start out with just coloring the skin. Sometimes I do the basic colors for everything, like I do layer for the skin and for the hair, and then I do the shading, but sometimes I do all the shading for one part, and that usually takes a little bit longer. But it's either one I'm feeling like. I'm honestly feeling like just doing the outline, the basic skin. Just work on the skin first, do all the shading for the skin, and then work on everything else, and maybe hopefully I can keep you all as entertained as possible. Alright, so yep, this is little Misu-chan, and I had a question. I had two different people ask me Pokemon questions. One of them from my YouTube channel asked just straight up my favorite Pokemon game. Now, this is gonna be a bit of a shock for all of you. If any of you have seen all of my human evolution speed paints, you think I'm a Pokemon fan, and don't get me wrong, I am. My thing is though, I did not play any of the original games when they first came out. I know I should be condemned and hanged for my sins. I watched Pokemon when it first came out. That was one of my first animes next to Sailor Moon. Of course, that is everybody's first introduction to anime. But yeah, I never played the games. The first game I decided to play was Pokemon Black, and I didn't really get very far in it. I mean, it's a fun game. And then I had a friend hound me over and over again about getting Pokemon Sun and Moon, and I was just waiting to have enough money to get that. But I do have Pokemon Moon, because that was the one that I wanted, because I thought the Pokemon that they had for that one was a lot cooler looking, and I am a creature of night, so if it's night themed or anything to do with darkness, I am going to be all on that. And that's kind of ironic, seeing as I am a creature of darkness, but yet I wield my own little Keyblade here in the picture. But yeah, I haven't really played that much Pokemon, but I do love Pokemon. I love the show growing up as a kid. My sisters are actually a little bit more fans than I am. And I say that because on their phones, when I went to visit them a while back, I found out both of them were playing Pokemon simulators. They had simulators on their phones where they were playing the original games. I can't remember which ones they were playing. I want to say maybe Ruby and Sapphire, but maybe not. But it was the really, really old school pixelated Pokemon, one of those. But, I mean, I didn't know about it. I didn't know there was, Pokemon simulators. I never asked them about it. I just sat there and watched them play it, and they honestly have a little more Pokemon knowledge than I do, which I know kind of puts me to shame, being the big sister. But at the same time, I am there's a little bit of pride to be had when I first found out that my oldest sister, who is 16 right now, when I found out that she was into anime, I watched her look up anime. No. We were in the living room, and she was on her phone, and she happened to be watching Fate Zero, and I just sat there. She had headphones in, but I just sat there and just stared at the phone is that Fate Zero? I'm like, oh my god, that's Fate Zero. I was just taken aback, because I mean, I know anime is pretty easy to find for people, and millennials will get into it, but I mean, she's even watched recent really good animes like My Hero Academia. She knows about it, and she's mentioned it a lot, and like she knows. And I mean, she said she wants to try to be an animator and a game designer, which is really cool because that's something like kind of I wanted to try and make games, but that really wasn't in the cards for me because game developing is very challenging. But I mean, if she wants to do it, that's what she's gonna do, and if she needs any drawing tips, I'm always there. She knows it whenever I'm able to come and visit. But yeah, they were both playing, back to Pokemon, they were playing Pokemon simulators on their phones, and it was actually really cool. And I have to remember the next time I visit them, they both live in Florida with my dad. If like whenever the next time I can go visit them, I'll have to kind of ask them how they get it on their phones, because I think they both, I remember that I think they both have iPhones and I just have a Samsung, and I'll know the two phones aren't that compatible with certain apps, but maybe there's something in the app store. I've just been honestly too lazy to look stuff up. There's another Pokemon related question from one of my friends on Facebook about, what was the question? Hang on, let me check my notes here, because I has notes. I think, favorite generation, like best, fave to worst generations. Again, not a big, I only know a majority of the 150 Pokemon when it first came out, okay? And there was a time when, everyone knows the Poke Rap, where they listed all of the original 150s in a cool, catchy rap song, and every kid in the 90s who knew about it was sitting there trying to like learn all the words and memorize every single Pokemon that came out, the first original from like Gen 1. And then all of a sudden, more Pokemon came out by the time we were in our teens, and there was more to catch up on, and next thing we know, we have like, I don't know, 600 something Pokemon. It could be more than that, I don't know, but there's like just so many more Pokemon to keep track of, and it is a lot. It is a lot to keep track of, and it got to the point where I stopped keeping track, because when I was like, when the first 150 came out, I'm sitting here trying to memorize every single one of them, and I actually used to have a guidebook. It was just a Pokemon guidebook that had all the Pokemon on it, and it listed all of the original 150. Me having that, plus listening to the rap song whenever it came on, I'm sitting here trying to memorize every single Pokemon. I had a majority of them down. I can't remember how many I got to a point, but I know that like I would have friends that would try, like me and my friends would used to challenge each other. It's like, okay, name 20 Pokemon, and like we would be able to name like 20 Pokemon from the first gen in like no time, in like absolutely no time. That was like child's play to us. And of course, always we had Pokemon cards. I have Pokemon cards. I still have all of them. That's actually kind of a funny story about how I found them. I was rummaging through my garage one day because I just wanted to see like what kind of stuff was in there. I think I was looking for something specific, but I can't remember what it was, but that's honestly not important, so I'm just gonna stop talking about it. Anyway, I started looking through old stuff and I found this weird box. And because I had been looking for my Pokemon cards for a while, every so often I would think about them and I would try to remember exactly where they were, but I never did. I always thought that maybe my mom had thrown them out or something. I don't know, but I mean, there was a time I went through the garage, I was looking through stuff, and I found this small box. I open it, and lo and behold, all of my original Pokemon cards were in there. Like, the look on my face was amazing. I was like, Pokemon cards, I miss them, I haven't seen them in forever, I've been looking for them. So like, there was some other stuff that was in the box, I took them out, I took the box with the Pokemon cards, ran into my room, and just started looking through all of my cards. And I remember I was looking through them, and I remembered when I can't remember how old I was, but I had like a few Pokemon cards at the time. I remember I was hanging out with my dad. We had went to the park one weekend, and I had made friends with this random kid. I saw him, I think if I remember correctly, I saw him playing Pokemon, or just like looking through his cards, or he saw me looking through my cards. I can't remember which one, but he saw me, and we started like looking through each other's collection, and that was actually the first time I actually traded. I never knew I knew there was like a specific way to play Pokemon using the trading cards. I never really got the hang of it, because honestly, when I first heard there were Pokemon cards, my initial thought was just to collect as many as I could and just like hold on to them for sentimental value. I never really thought about, oh hey, you know, you can challenge your friends with a card game. I'm just like, huh, I never knew that. I know I traded a card to him. I can't remember which one. I remember when I saw my Mewtwo card, because I do have a Mewtwo card, and it's the same Mewtwo card when Pokemon the first movie came out on VHS, and I don't know if it was for every copy, but I know I got it around the time it was released on DVD. I didn't see it in theaters, but when I saw the VHS, they said that the VHS contained the Mewtwo card. So when I got it, I had the Mewtwo card. I can't remember. Sorry, that's my dog. But yeah, I did actually have a Pokemon game for the Game Boy Color, if anyone remembers Pokemon Pinball. Yeah, that was about the only Pokemon game I owned back then, because again, I am a disgrace and my Otaku card should be taken away from me right now. Lol. But yeah, that was my first Pokemon. That was my first Pokemon experience. But I actually made a lot of friends. Pokemon was like one of the first genres where I got into anime, and I actually tried to copy their art style. I actually had an art book that I actually recently found. They had it in Michael's. It was a how to draw Pokemon book. It didn't have all the Pokemon. It had Pikachu, it had Pichu, it had Mew, Totodile, and it had one of the last ones was drawing Ash and Pikachu together. I read that one a few times and took it to school, I remember, because I was in elementary school at the time. And like reset, whenever we had like free time, I would just sit there, just in the art section, drawing like Pokemon left and right. But the Pokemon that I could draw fairly well was Mewtwo, or not Mewtwo, sorry, Mew. I could draw Mew. Like, it got to the point where I didn't even need the book. I could just draw Mew right there on the spot. And the other one that I knew how to draw was Oddish, because I mean, honestly, he's not that hard. It's just a circle with legs, some eyes, and I mean, just fuzz, just grass growing at the top of his head. That's pretty much it. So he was the easiest one. Took me a while to draw Pikachu, because I mean, he's a cute fat little blob, and he's just adorable. Should probably talk about all the other anime stuff that's happening right here. The skull here, if no one knows, that's from the anime Soul Eater, which is actually my #1 favorite anime, because the story itself is just freaking amazing, and if you haven't seen it or know of it but haven't yet like watched it, it is on Netflix. I mean, it's easy to find if you know like what anime platforms to look up. But how I got into Soul Eater is a really interesting story. There was a library that's not too far from my house. They used to have mini-cons, and it was just all it was just a bunch of anime fanatics in a small room, and they would just have little activities for us to do. It mostly catered to like kids in high school, and my friend Michael ended up telling me about it because he said he went every year that they had it. So what they had was, when you first walked in, they had a board where anyone who went in could display their art. so for everyone to see. It wasn't really like showing off your art and then you win a prize if yours is the best. It was just like, hey, if you're an artist, come show off your art and all of that. Well, one year I went and I saw this girl dressed up as Blair. I didn't know who she was, but I kept staring at her like, I love her costume. What is she from? What character is that? I was like, it boggled my mind, and I was too afraid, I was too shy to go up and ask her, like, who she was. And so, what they ended up doing at the end, before, like a few hours before it was over, after all the activities, they would show an anime. Lo and behold, what they showed was Soul Eater. The first episode, if anyone knows, the first 3 episodes of Soul Eater is just the introduction of the 3 main characters. Or technically like 6 since they're my story weapon. So the first episode was the introduction of Maka and Soul. And then I saw Blair show up and I was like, I kept looking at the character on the screen and I looked at the girl, I'm like, hey! That's who she's from! I turned to my friend Michael and he's just sitting there laughing at me, looking at my expression. Because like, I was all aglow. Because the intro to Soul Eater is, oh my gosh, freaking amazing. Like, that first note, it's like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme song. If you know the anime, you know that you're gonna get hooked. And like, the intro just like catches you. But yeah, so they only showed the first 3 character introduction episodes. I was astounded. So what I ended up doing was going back. The second I went home, not even kidding, went online and watched more. I went and just watched the rest of the anime. I didn't finish it all that night, but I got pretty far. I pretty much binge watched. That was my first like real TV binge, because I mean, the show was great. The characters were amazing. And I was like, why didn't anyone tell me about this show? This show is amazing. It automatically became my favorite anime, to the point where I actually decided to make my own. I made my own My Story Weapon pair, and I actually wrote a fanfiction that I posted on fanfiction.net. It's still up there, I just haven't posted in a while, and that's kind of disappointing to most people who are like subscribed to me and reading it, because I'm on the last chapter. But the reason I haven't been working on it is since I got a new computer and I tried to basically, I have to pay for Microsoft Windows again, and that's just more money out of my pocket, but I'm going to get it and then try to finish it, although I haven't worked on it since college. But yeah, Soul Eater became like my all-time favorite anime, and I mean, I don't know, it was my first real anime, because I remember I have an anime DVD, I can't remember which one, but they actually, one of the previews was for Soul Eater, because I sat there like, this looks really familiar, and I was trying to think of where I saw it, and was like, oh, this was a preview on an anime that I've watched before. And I mean, I remember seeing Death the Kid on there, on the preview, so I was like, oh, I know him, and it was just like like I said, struck of awe and amazement at what this show was. But yeah, like I said, if you haven't seen Soul Eater yet, I definitely highly recommend it. Gravity Falls is another good, because I mean, it has so many twists and turns. It is a cartoon, but I mean, half of the imagery would frighten a child, seriously. And the first time, I didn't get into, I don't get into a lot of stuff right away. It takes me a while. Gravity Falls is definitely one of them. I had heard about it in college, and I had some friends who were really, really into the show. So when someone showed it to me right when they were in, a little bit after they got into season 2. The first episode that they showed me, because they knew I was an anime fan, and they knew I would get a kick out of it, was Seuss and the Real Girl. And if you haven't seen it, basically what happens is the handyman Seuss has a hard time dating, and Mabel and Dipper try to help him. They end up buying this Japanese dating simulator game, and apparently later on it becomes sentient, and it falls madly in love with Seuss. And I'm not gonna say anything else that happens, but let's just say for Gravity Falls, it's the right amount of cray-cray, and it has a lot of jokes that, I mean, just go watch it. It'll blow your mind. But Mabel is like the best character. That's why I love her like so much. And like the aspect behind Gravity Falls was actually really, really fascinating. I watched a documentary of it, and the creator himself said that he based it on like his life. He based Mabel and Dipper off of him and his sister, and basically the episodes were like how he wished his summer vacations were, like going to a weird place and discovering some type of conspiracy and trying to solve a mystery and stuff. The man is an absolute genius, and I mean, I would honestly aspire to like write something exactly like that. Let's not forget Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! The original Yu-Gi-Oh! Was great. I just like, you know what? Because if you didn't see in like when I first started, there are Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards and dice just rolled out. I just decided I'm just gonna draw the pharaoh symbol on my head and just work with that. That's all I'm gonna do. Just work with it, because Yu-Gi-Oh! I play Yu-Gi-Oh! More than I play Pokemon, obviously. Like I said, I don't know how to play Pokemon, the card game. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of the other first animes I got into. The whole card-based thing, I was like, this is actually pretty cool. I've seen the previews for it, and I was actually able to catch the first episode, I think around the time it was on 4Kids, when 4Kids was still on the air. That's where I first watched it. And of course, fangirls out there, not gonna lie, okay, just gonna say this, fangirls, you all remember your first anime crushes, like when you got into anime. For each anime that you first got into, there was always a first crush, and you know it. Obviously, mine in Yu-Gi-Oh! Was none other than Seto Kaiba himself, because I'm sorry, the man is a freaking hottie. When I first saw him in the classroom when he was like actually still in school, I was just like, ooh, dark, brooding, emo guy. I want to marry him. And honestly, like, falling in love with an anime character and like is honestly the first friendship ruiner. We all know it. Don't lie. We have fought our best friends for an anime guy. I had a friend in high school. Me and her, I'm not even joking, fought tooth and nail for Sesshomaru from Inuyasha. We would always get into these debates on who he would be with. It was honestly some of the best memories that I have of just like fighting. It was like, he's mine, no, he's mine. I saw him first. Screw you, I saw him first. You want to go? Yeah, let's go. We would like come together in the mornings, and it became a routine where we would just like, Steffi-chan is mine. I'm like, nope, he's mine. We would just go back and forth, and it went from, I'm actually still in a fight with another friend over him, but I think we've agreed to share him. I don't know, but I know I'm in the lead because I actually have a tank top that I got from Hot Topic that has I got it in the clearance rack that has his face on it. So I'm sorry, if you have Sesshomaru anything, you automatically win and he's automatically yours. Nope, he's mine. I call dibs. I'm sorry. I'll probably lose most of my female fan base, but I'm sorry, he's mine. I call dibs. I call dibs since I was like 5 or like at least 8 years old. Yeah, I got into anime when I was like around 8 years old in elementary school. Moved with my mom to Kentucky, and I met some really cool friends, and one of them happened to be an anime fan, and she was the one who introduced me to anime. We had a sleepover, and we ended up watching the old Toonami, where they showed, back when it showed Inuyasha and Yu Yu Hakusho, but first it was Inuyasha, and I was just like, whoa, I love this show. It's got demons, it's got fighting, and I'm like, oh, and they say bad words, yay! I would always like stay up late without my parents knowing and just watching it, and over time I think my family kind of knew I slowly got into anime, but they thought it was for kids, so I don't think they had any idea of like the cursing or swearing. I would try to keep it as on the down low as I could, but I mean, there was a time where my dad caught me watching Family Guy when I was like maybe 11, and he made me, I don't remember if it was my dad or if it was an uncle or somebody, but they caught me watching Family Guy and forced me to change the channel. I was so mad because I did like Family Guy. I still kind of like Family Guy, not as much as I did before, but I mean, it's still a good show. But I said Soul Eater was the first real anime that I actually watched. That's not true. The first real anime that I watched and I still love, and everyone will agree is like one of the greatest animes of all time, was Cowboy Bebop. I remember being at my aunt's house, like I would spend the night with my aunt on a regular basis on like the weekends, and she'd be asleep or she'd just be in the living room just watching movies or something, and I'd be in her room watching Toonami on like Saturday night, and when Cowboy Bebop was like on the regular was on the air regularly, and I sat there and watched it, I didn't really understand the plot of what was going on with Cowboy Bebop. I was too immersed with like the art style mostly, and just also I was really fascinated by Spike. I mean, yeah, Spike is one hell of a character. I'm just gonna say that now. But I mean, I don't know what else to say about Cowboy Bebop. I haven't watched it in forever. The last con I went to last year, I actually met the voice actor of Spike, and he signed my Spike pop figure, and he is so cool. I was wearing a steampunk costume I got from Spirit Halloween, because I went out like that for Halloween, and he actually asked me, he loved my costume and asked me if I had made it. I honestly wish I had made that costume. I honestly wanted to lie and say that I did, but I'm just like, nah, I'm gonna be genuine. It's like, nah, I didn't make this. I wish I did tell him I wish I did have the skills to make this, but he still thought I was really cool for it. Cowboy Bebop is really cool. It's one of the first real animes next to Inuyasha. I actually had deja vu with Inuyasha because I don't know if, I think I just haven't, I don't know if like it's because I haven't watched it in a while or what the deal was, but I remember I was visiting my dad in Florida, and I was spending the night at my grandma's house, and I was still up, and it was Toonami, and lo and behold, Inuyasha came on, and I just had had a huge flash of deja vu. I was like, wait, I've seen this before. And I was just like, yeah, this is Inuyasha. And I used to like role play by myself. So, like, what I would do is I would I'm not gonna lie, I would pretend I was Kagome just for like a few months, and then I realized after getting into it, like, yeah, no, Kagome's kind of annoying, I don't really like her. So I just like replaced her with myself, and I pretty much became Inuyasha's love interest and all that. And I would just like pretend, I would basically reenact most of the episodes that I knew by heart, and replace myself with Kagome, and just all of that jazz, because again, I'm a huge nerd here. So that's pretty much what I did, and it went on until high school. I still did a little bit in high school, I won't lie, which is why I didn't have that much of a social life, because I was too busy fantasizing about imaginary guys that weren't real, and every time I thought they weren't real, I was like, depressed. I need an anime boyfriend and all that. But yeah, if you haven't noticed, I have the Shikon jewels around my neck, and I would like to see Naraku or some demon try to take them from me. Take them. I dare you. I will beat the crap out of you. They are mine. They are for my Inuyasha. I will make him a full demon. Basically everything that's in here, I love. All of, like, the stuff. But Sonic the Hedgehog holds a very special place in my heart. The first Sonic game I ever saw, I remember this. I was, my mom and I were in New York, and we were visiting, just sightseeing. We were walking, and we passed this game store, and it had it was around the time Sonic Heroes came out for the PlayStation 1, I'm sorry, PlayStation 1, I'm so old, PlayStation 2, and they were showing a demo, and there were a bunch of kids, like, gathered around. One kid was playing it. I never saw the show, nor had I ever played any of the other games, like Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2. I never played any of those because I didn't have the console to play them. The only consoles I had were a Game Boy Color and a PlayStation 1. I never had a Dreamcast. I never had a GameCube. I had a friend who had a GameCube, and almost every weekend I go over his house and we would just play, like, his games. But that was the first time I found out about Shadow the Hedgehog. And what's interesting is I thought that when I saw that, I honestly thought Knuckles was a girl. The reason being, the video game didn't have audio, or it was too loud and too crowded and there were too many people that I couldn't hear the dialogue. I can only, like, read what was on the screen. And because Knuckles basically has long hair, I kind of automatically assumed that Knuckles was a girl. It wasn't until I got a PlayStation 2 and I got the game that I realized that Knuckles was indeed a male, and I was just like, oh, okay. And then I got so into Sonic. For a while, it became an obsession, like, serious obsession. Like, I wanted Sonic everything. At one point had a Sonic the Hedgehog backpack. I actually tried to draw Sonic and, like, animals in Sonic style. Did not work out for me. I still have trouble drawing animals to this day. Now, my obsession grew even more when the game Shadow the Hedgehog came out. I was like, ooh, I know about Shadow. I like Shadow the Hedgehog. He's a pretty cool character. He's so dark. And this was around Christmas. I had given everyone a Christmas. Like, me being the youngest in the family, what I would do is I would write out a Christmas list. And I would literally, like, wrote out a Christmas list. And what I would do is I would pass it out to all of my family members. I would write their names down next to a specific thing I wanted. I had one of my aunts get me the Shadow the Hedgehog game. Now, I wasn't 100% sure if I was actually going to get it because, I mean, you ask for something for Christmas or your birthday, there's like about a maybe 60-40 chance that you're actually going to get the things that you want. I mean, as a kid, I know that parents try to get as much on it as they can, but when you're a kid, you don't really understand that your parents are on a budget, so you just ask for a lot of stuff for, like, your family members. You can always count on your family members to buy you certain things that you know maybe your parents don't want you to have or whatever, or they just can't buy. And you think, like, maybe another family member will buy it for me. She bought it for me. I unwrapped it, and I was so excited, but the thing that I was laughing because when I thanked her, I was like, oh, thank you, this is the best, thank you so much for getting me this game, because I honestly wasn't expecting it. And she was like, I'm never buying you anything this dark or evil again. And I was looking at her like, what? I mean, yeah. Shadow the Hedgehog, I mean, the cover for it is dark. I mean, Shadow is holding a machine gun. Shadow is holding a machine gun or whatever it is, and there's an explosion going on in the back, but it's not evil. I mean, if you've seen the preview, like, the old commercials for the game were amazing. It was just like, just the compliment, just like the remark took me by surprise. And I was just like, okay. And like the rest of Christmas, while everyone was like eating, like we had like dinner after everyone opened presents. After I ate, I remember, I didn't really eat. I went right into my room after I unwrapped the rest of my presents. I turned on my PS2 and I started playing it. I had the best time. The game was about, back then it was pretty much everything the commercial said it was. It was like super fun. And I know people had griped about it over time. Like they played it years later and they griped about the controls. And yeah, even I noticed the controls when it first came out, when I first got it, were just utter total crap. And I mean, it holds a special place in my heart, especially because it had a lot to do when I first watched Sonic X. When I first saw Sonic X and the Shadow Saga came on, and like, of course, Shadow the Hedgehog, I never saw Sonic X before I got Shadow the Hedgehog, so it was where I first learned who Maria was and all of that. And then when I actually did watch Sonic X, I got the more full story of Shadow and where he actually came from and like why he's doing all of this. I know there are people who still gripe about it today, and yes, I have my own little complaints and quips about it, but I mean, it's still a good game in my eyes. If you look past, if you honestly look past the entire like creation of the game itself and just look at what it is, it has to do with like one of the most popular characters, Shadow the Hedgehog, when he was good and had a purpose and just him going through everything. Not saying, like I said, I'm not saying the story is great. There are flaws with the story. But just understand, when it first came out, me and everyone else were just like complete gaga over it. Especially, like, I was especially super obsessed with it because once again, I added my own character and wrote a very elaborate fan fiction that has to do with me and Shadow, but I turned to kind of meet everything in the middle. I turned all of the characters like Sonic and Knuckles and all of them, I turned them all into humans. So everyone in my Shadow fanfiction are human. And I mean, it's gotten a lot, like that fanfiction has gotten a lot of praise just for what it is. I have had some like really picky critics, but I don't really listen to them because it's my story and I will write what I want. And if they think they can do a better job, I'd like to see them try. This is what, my imagination, you can't change it. You never will. That's all I gotta say about that. Don't let people don't let people criticize your work, okay? Put your best work out there, and if people are gonna criticize in a negative way, just move on, because, I mean, everything you do will be criticized. Your work will be criticized. Art, music, doesn't matter. It will be criticized by everybody. The best thing that you can do is, if it's negative, ignore it and don't listen to them. If it's constructive criticism, you don't have to take all of their advice, but I mean, yeah, you're gonna get criticized in life. And if it's negative criticism, like that pretty much tells you, oh, this is the worst thing ever, what were you thinking, you can't, you shouldn't do this, you should just give up, and all that, just ignore it and move on. Don't put yourself in that position of negativity. Surround yourself by positive people. But if it's like positive criticisms, like, hey, this is good, but you can improve here, here, or here, or like someone's giving you some like actual legit suggestions where you can change stuff, or like where you can improve, how you can improve, just you can listen to them. They will, those types of compliments will help you grow and help you grow your craft. That's why it's good to like not be too shy and put your work out there. And especially if you're trying something new. If you're trying something new, definitely put it out there. And if you don't want to really put it out there, like if you don't want to put it like on, say, a Tumblr blog or a DeviantArt blog, you don't have to. What you can do is just like look to your circle of friends. You can like share it on Facebook with your closest friends, or just send it in a message, just like send it in an email to your friends, like, hey, I made this thing, can you tell me what you think, and like if there's anything that I could change or work on that would help me. That works too. Once you're confident enough to put your work out there, then go for it. Go for it. Like I said, my art has been criticized many times. My writing has been criticized many times. I don't let it get to me. I'm like, okay, that is, you think what I do is just sucks. It's complete garbage. That's fine. You know what? Your opinion that is your opinion, but I have the right, as the creator of this content, to respectfully decline your opinion, and I choose to ignore you and walk away if you are just going to sit there and just ridicule me for this thing that I am proud of. Just walk away from it. Don't let it get to you. It's happened to me more times than I can count. Believe me, I am a victim of bullying. I really shouldn't say victim, but yeah, I've had people make fun of me for being into anime and cartoons and video games, and you'd think, and honestly, it doesn't affect me. Their words do not affect me, because I like what I like, and honestly, I wouldn't be me if I don't think I'd be the person that I am today if I wasn't into this stuff. I am an openly creative person. I have people come to me for advice on a bunch of different topics that involves art, animation. Even though I've never really done a full-on animation before, I know about it, I know how tedious it is, and I know like kind of the steps to take when making something like that. I've had people come to me, and I've even had people like who are too shy to show their stuff to anybody, show me the stuff that they've made, and I give them good criticism. Like, you can praise someone like, oh my gosh, this is like the coolest, this is like the most awesome thing ever, and what you did here is like freaking awesome, but it doesn't need to change a thing. If I see something like that, yeah, I'm gonna give you all the praise. I will, like I said, I will help friends improve their craft. Like if if I know someone who is into music and they share their latest song with me, I will give them good advice on how to improve. Even though I don't know that much about like producing or editing music, I'm just gonna toot my own horn and say I'm a pretty good singer. I tried to write lyrics once upon a time, but did not really work for me. But I know I know kind of a little bit how the music writing process works, and they can come to me, and they know it. I've had a bunch of people who start out drawing, and I mean, they don't really know what they're doing, but they'll come to me and ask me advice, which is like the other subject that someone asked me about, like how to get started on drawing or just like getting better at drawing. That's an age-old question that has the same answer, and that word is practice. Just practice. That's all you have to do. Because I started out terrible. I mean, I started out with the typical basic anime things. Like, from what I've seen, when I first started watching anime and I wanted to like try to draw it, I saw that every anime had a few things in common. they had the same feature. They all had the same features. Big, giant, expressive eyes. And like over the top, like expressions and like body disproportions that weren't like real, but you kind of knew what they were. Like, oh, that this is a hand. The hand does this in anime, and it's kind of different. That doesn't really make sense, but you catch my drift. But as long as you know the basics, or like kind of understand, and just practice. That's all you have to do. Me personally, that's what I did. I practiced my craft. The friend that my friend that got me into Inuyasha, like her drawings were so good. They were amazing. And I was just starting out, but her stuff was just gorgeously beautiful. And I tried so hard. I remember she gave me a small little like handout that she personally made that would kind of help me kind of draw not exactly in her style, but close enough. I took that right when I got home. I didn't turn on the TV. I didn't go to my computer. I immediately I threw my backpack on the floor. I remember this. I went into the kitchen. It was quiet. And I took the piece of paper out of my backpack and I started drawing. I looked at all the elements that she had written out for me, and I tried to get the basics down as much as I could. Over time, I was trying to full on copy her style. I really was. And there were times where I got so close, but then I realized, like, I don't have to copy her style. I can just use it as inspiration for my own. So that's pretty much what had happened. So I want to say it was middle school. If anyone remembers middle school, like middle schools where they had like book fairs, that's where I actually got my first how to draw book. I was originally just looking for another novel to read, or just like a fun activity book. Lo and behold, they had a how to draw manga book. I was looking at it like, oh my gosh, they actually have this. And I had just enough to get it. So I got it. I took that book everywhere. I don't have it now. I remember the last time I had it, and I honestly wish I still had it to this day, because I will say it's one of those the ones that start out and it covers the basics. But like the art, I'm sorry to say, looking back at it now, the art in it was like kind of bad. Like it was bad, but it was the only thing I had at the time, and it was honestly a good place for me to start. So that's what happened. I started with that, and it was actually the easiest platform for me to work with. I read that thing 100 different times from cover to cover, looking at their method of drawing hair, drawing eyes, they had like different ways to pose your characters, like what joints go where, what joints go where when the character is sitting, or when they're in an action pose, like in a fight scene. And it was actually very helpful. It was super helpful, to the point where I made my own style out of it. And that's pretty much all it is. Well, we had another book fair, and and ever since then, I started looking for different how to draw books. Over time, by the time I was in high school, I was on my third how to draw book. And it was that one I actually got for Christmas. One of my cousins, his girlfriend, I think she said she used to work at a bookstore, and she saw the book and thought about me and decided to get it for me. And I'm like, cool, thanks. And that's actually where my style, it was the book that kind of broke me into the style that I developed now. And it came with, this one was actually really cool. It was probably the best one I had because, well, I have, because I still actually have it. It came with actual like manga paper that like artists use to draw actual manga. With like it was basically like manga style graph paper that showed you where exactly to put the panels and all of that. And it was honestly the coolest thing it was the coolest thing. I never let that thing go. There was one time where I was freaking out because I had left it in one of my classes in high school. I was dismissed. I asked to go get it and I was dismissed. There was another class that was in there and I saw a boy that had it. I knocked on the door and I said I left my drawing stuff in there. He came up to me and he gave it to me. And just the look on his face, I don't think he really expected me to like come and look for it or get it back. I think from what I saw I don't know if this is true, this is just what I saw. I think honestly he was like showing them off and I think he was passing it on as his. I don't know, he could have been passing it on as his, he could have like just looking at it with his friends and stuff, I don't know. But just the look on his face when I came came and got it was hilarious. But I'm really glad that I actually was able to get it back, along with all the drawings that I had in it. If you haven't noticed with my art style, like how I draw my legs, that's another interesting kind of story. Now I'm blanking on his name, but there is a person who I follow on DeviantArt who, if anyone's familiar with like the old comics that it was an online web comic that was based off of the Grim Adventures of Bill and Mandy, but it also had other characters like Powerpuff Girls and Hey Arnold. It was called The Grim Tales from Down Below, and it was basically just about how basically Mandy and Grim have a son and a daughter together, and just like some weird stuff happened. But his earlier art style from that comic, I don't even know if it's up online anymore. There was a website a specific website it was on. I can't remember the name of it now, and don't know if it's still up. But anyway, his art style, like how he drew the girl, like how he drew the daughter of Mandy, her, like all of the girl's legs were kind of like this, where like they were kind of pointed, the toes and the feet were kind of pointed, and I just thought that was like kind of cool. It was like a chibi style thing, but it wasn't chibi, and I kind of like rolled with that. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna, like, I gave it a shot, and I found him on DeviantArt, and I started like not really copying. Yeah, okay, let's just call it what it is. I did copy it, but I copied it until the point where I was able to make it my own, and I kind of stuck with it. Doesn't mean I can't draw regular feet. I have drawn regular feet and like regular human proportioned legs, but I mean, it's just, this is like the style that I have now is the one that I'm more comfortable with. I like it. I like the way it looks, and also because the legs are the most beautiful part of a woman. That's all I'm saying. I mean, see a girl like on the beach. For me, like I look at their legs. I'm like, wow, her legs are really toned or really in shape, or like, wow, she just had like. It's basically how you look at babies, and like how they are super adorable when they have all that baby fat on them. They're just adorable. That's pretty much how it is. It's like, oh, this girl's like really pretty. This girl has very attractive legs. They're really pretty. That's all I'm saying. So I just thought that it would actually kind of be cool. And when you start drawing, a lot of people, well, I'm not gonna say a lot of people. I personally started out with learning how to draw the female body, because honestly, the female body is a lot easier to draw. And I say that because I don't know how many people are going to agree with me on this, but basically we are curvy. No matter our size, we have intricate our hips and thighs are very intricate. They, like, no woman is the same size. And that's pretty much why. Like, because you can practice shapes on a woman when you draw them. So, like, you can like practice with like size of the chest, how slim you want the stomach to be, how wide or small you want the hips to be, and all of that. You just practice with that. And it's because the male body most people start with the male body, but a lot, like, because it's just like, it's not like men don't have like intricate bodies as well. Like, all men have different body types. They can be muscular, they can be super thin, or just like average size. You can play around with those. But honestly, muscles are hard to draw, not gonna lie. Muscles are very, very intricate too. There was a time where I decided it would be a good idea to try and practice drawing Dragon Ball Z characters, because one of my cousins had the game guide for Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3, I believe, and he didn't really play it anymore, and so my grandma had it just like in her house, and I had found it, and I asked her if I could have it, and she's like, yeah, sure, he doesn't play it anymore, he doesn't do anything with it, so yeah, you can have it. And I took it to school with me, and okay, this is gonna be a funny story. This was around the time I first got into Dragon Ball Z, if I remember. Now, this is the story I kind of wanted to get into. I wanted to wait until I got to, like, the Dragon Balls and stuff, but everyone that I have told this story to, they laugh just because, like, they give me the dirtiest look whenever I tell them, like, I start out with this story, and I'm gonna get a lot of looks too, because I'm gonna say this, I want everyone, if you're eating something, just stop eating. If you're walking or something and you're listening to this, I want you to sit down. Just sit down. If you're drinking, I don't know if I said drinking or eating first, but if you're doing either of those things, like I said, you may want to pause. Or just finish chewing and swallowing whatever you have. I did not like Dragon Ball Z. You're probably sitting there having a stroke like, how dare you not like Dragon Ball Z when it first came out? How dare you? How dare you, madam? Let me finish. Allow me to explain myself. I knew about Dragon Ball Z. I've seen previews when it was on Toonami. I would catch glimpses of the show when it came on. But, like I said, I did not watch it because I didn't really care for it. Because when I saw it, I'm just like, oh, it's just a bunch of guys fighting each other. I honestly had that mentality like, it's a guy's show, and by then I already had my preference of anime. I already had like my type of anime that I liked, which basically was like kind of supernatural, all of that thing. And I know you're probably thinking like, but Dragon Ball Z is supernatural. I know that. If you let me finish my story. Gall. Yes. I was not a fan of Dragon Ball Z until one day. I was visiting my dad, and it was Saturday night, Toonami was about to come on. I had forgotten, I was all set to watch it. What I didn't know, or I had forgotten, was that particular Toonami season, or that broadcasting, was showing a marathon of Dragon Ball Z episodes starting from the very beginning. Or no, it wasn't the beginning. I think it was around the time they were picking up where they left off, which was like when they were on Namek or something like that. No, it was the beginning. I think it was. Anyway, I was flipping through channels to see if there was something else on. Obviously there wasn't. But so I was just like watching some channel, don't remember what it was. In walks my dad. We were both up, and he was just seeing what I was doing. I'm like, just watching TV. So he asked me if I was watching anything, and I'm like, no, there's not really anything on right now. So he sat there and flipped through channels. He stopped at Toonami, and he's like, "Hey, look, anime! You like anime?" It's like, where he's like, "Hey, look, there's anime on," and I'm just like, "Yeah." I didn't really have the heart to tell him that wasn't really interested in the show that was on. He just knew I liked anime, but never really knew like my preference. So he's like, "Let's sit and watch it," and I'm like, "Okay." So I'm just sitting there. So he's like watching it with me, and I'm just like, "Oh, great! Now I have to sit through this show." So I actually just decided to suck up and just watch it. And honestly, my plan was he was gonna fall asleep really quickly. So my plan was to just like watch it until he fell asleep, and then I would sneak up to my room and just like do whatever. But thankfully, I'm really thankful that I didn't, because by the time they got to maybe the second or third episode of like that broadcasting, I was kind of interested. I sat there like, well, this show really isn't that bad. So I really did get into Dragon Ball Z like that, and I was a time where I was like bored, and so I just sat there and just like I just ended up watching all of Dragon Ball Z, and basically I got, like I said, I got hooked. I took the show for granted, and I'm like, this actually is a pretty decent show, and that's literally all there is. I didn't like Dragon Ball Z. My dad just sat there and just watched it with me because it was anime, and so I'm just like, hey, this is really cool. I am really glad that I'm into it now, because if you haven't watched Dragon Ball Super or aren't like super up to date with it, it's really good. And if you're not up to date with it because you're sitting there waiting for Toonami to show it, no. Watch it online in Japanese, and you will be because where Super is right now, whoo, it is getting intense. I will say I was very skeptical when Super started coming out and they started showing episodes every like Saturday at like 10 in Japanese. I was kind of hesitant because honestly, Goku's voice in Japanese, he sounded like a girl, and I'm just like, ugh, why does he sound like that? Like, why did they give him that voice? But now it's like it doesn't bother me now. But back then, when I started watching, like when I first found YouTube, when I was watching like AMVs and all that, they had Dragon Ball Z AMVs. I was just like, oh my god, I can't watch this show in Japanese. It's just so, oh, my ears. But I can watch it now. I mean, it doesn't bother me anymore, but I'm just like, ugh. Like the woman, don't get me wrong, I love the woman who does Goku's voice. I think she's a genius at the beginning. But yeah, that is the story of how I got into Dragon Ball Z, and like I said, I have friends who like, I open up with, I did not like Dragon Ball Z at the time, and they're like, their eyes just go like, how dare you? And I just feel they're like, we judge you, and I'm just like, if you let me finish my story. But yeah, I got into it, and then I actually, when I got the game guide for Budokai Tenkaichi 3, I actually tried extremely hard to draw Goku, Raditz, and all of them, but it was just impossible. There was no way. I was like, the first person I tried to draw was Raditz. I liked Raditz. He was, I mean, I tried to draw him. And I tried to draw him with like his arms folded and all that, but there was like, the muscles were too intricate for me, and I was starting out, so I was like, nope, I can't do this. I remember in middle school where I would be like sitting there drawing in the cafeteria at lunchtime, all my friends like, try to draw something, and I'm like they would like dare me to try and draw something from like the thing, and they would sit there and watch me, and we would all be, even me, I would be sitting there laughing at myself like, I can't do this is impossible. And I was just like, no, I can't draw muscles, they're hard. Muscles are hard to draw. I just got frustrated, and eventually I gave up. To this day, I have not drawn a single Dragon Ball Z character, ever, because I still have a hard time drawing muscles. I can draw guys just fine. I just can't draw muscles. I think the back of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, gross, I had something in my mouth. Yeah, I remember, it was tan. Alright, anyway, but yeah. So Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Yeah. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh has, it's interesting. I still have, like I said, I do have Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I even have new Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I haven't played since college. I'm not that great. I'm not the greatest Yu-Gi-Oh player ever. I play for fun. That's it. I just play for fun. What me and my friends like to do sometimes whenever we play is we try to be as dramatic as possible. When I say that, I mean like dramatically try to draw our cards, do like the weird hand gestures and like the facial gestures. I remember I had a sleepover with my friend Kristen, and we were playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's exactly what we did, and it was like the best and most intense Yu-Gi-Oh game ever. Of course, she beat me twice, because her deck is stupid. Yeah, you heard me, Kristen, your deck is stupid, and I demand that the next time I see you, we are having a rematch. It's happening. It's going down. You and me, we're going at it. All or nothing. But, I have two decks. One, my first deck is, I have a dragon deck, which I had friends help me build. Well, when I say that, I mean they actually just straight up built it for me, and I mean, I've ran it before in a duel, and it worked well. I just need more. I just haven't practiced that much with it, and I really, really need to. I also have a pre-made fairy deck, and pre-made, of course, means it was just a straight up fairy deck I bought at the store for like $15, I guess. I can't remember how much it was, but it was like pretty cheap for what it was. But I had bought it, and I've heard that fairy decks are broken. The first time I played it, yeah, it's very broken. They are very broken, because I had a field card. It was like, I think it was Castle in the Sky, which pretty much like makes all fairy types, I don't want to say invincible, but it makes them do something. Oh, hold on, there we go. My mouse did a thing, and there we go, doing a thing. Hold on, let me just unplug it, and plug it back in. There we go. Why are you doing things I don't want you to do? Frustration, irritation, me. Sorry. Again, my mouse is being a butt right now. I knew this was gonna happen. But yeah, sorry, it's moving on its own right now. I'm not doing this, I promise you. Are you gonna be good? Are you gonna do the thing I want you to do? People are watching. Stop doing the things. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. My computer is done being possessed and stuff. Ghosty goo? Don't do that again. Bad ghosty goo. What was I talking about? Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, anyway. Yeah, so, fairy decks, right? Broken. Kind of, yeah, extremely. The first time I ran it, I won easily with, like, because I had the field card, Castle in the Sky. I can't remember exactly what it's supposed to do, because I haven't played it in a while, but that pretty much is my trump card in the whole thing. On to the Keyblade. Ave Maria. So, yep, this is my Keyblade, and I just realized I'm gonna have to go through my files and find a picture from the last time I drew it, because I don't remember all of my color schemes. Don't worry, I know exactly where it is. Yeah, Keyblade is another... Keyblade. Kingdom Hearts is another game that I got into, and also another one that I wrote a fan fiction for. That was actually my first fan fiction. Why don't you go figure that one? Is it in here? I can't remember. Sorry, you're looking through my old crap, a lot of my old stuff. Someone else's Keyblade. Okay, no, it was way before that. But yeah, with my fan fiction, with my Kingdom Hearts fan fiction. Oh, I know where to find it. I'm so dummy. So dummy. I am dummy because I just used the word dummy in the wrong way. Let's see. Anyway, Kingdom Hearts. Yes, that was actually one of the first RPG games I ever got into. And I played, was it the second one? Yep, so this is my Kingdom Hearts character. Oh, that's not the one I wanted though. No, that's not the one I wanted. I didn't want that one. Sorry, folks. I promise I'm gonna get this. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts was one of the first. It was one of the first RPG games I got into. I played the first one for the PS. I had the first one and the second one for the PS2. This is the one I wanted, and I basically, like everything else, I fell head over heels for it. Well, didn't open it. Oh wait, it's opening it. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts, while we're waiting, Kingdom Hearts was the first RPG game I got into. It started, again, I played the first game, but to this day, honestly, I have never finished it. Yeah, I never finished the first one because because like, I was halfway through the first one when I found out that there was going to be a second one. So, and what's funny is I bought the second one, Kingdom Hearts. I still haven't, to this day I haven't finished the first game. And I mean, I have the PS3 version, and I'm farther in that one than I am. The reason I haven't gotten very far is honestly because the level where you are, it's the level just before you rescue Kairi where you're in the giant castle and you have to go everywhere to get out. The first time I played it, I was lost. I could not find my way out. I looked up guides. I did everything I could. I couldn't find my way out of that thing. But because I had it took me months before, like in the PS2 version, before I finally got out and I knew where I was. So I had the PS3 version and I started playing that. I am now fighting Monster Maleficent, or the Dragon Maleficent. That's what it is, Dragon Maleficent. And she's hard. She is not a fun boss. Like, very, very hard and very dumb and very stupid. Worst time ever. But I have had quite an adventure with Kingdom Hearts. I got the PS2 version, PS2, Kingdom Hearts 2, can't talk again. The PS2 version I actually got at Circuit City when it was still open because I had one near me. And what's funny is, so when I got it, I had just enough to get it. And I went up to the counter, I was paying for it. Kingdom Hearts 2 is special for me because I actually bought it with a $2 bill. Yeah, I spent a $2 bill, like a rare American thing on a video game. And the guy was like, I actually asked him if he would take a $2 bill. He's like, are you sure you want to spend it? I'm like, yeah, I do, otherwise I don't have enough. And he's like, okay, so I gave it to him, and I was able to get the game. And he probably looked at me like I was an idiot, because like, you're selling a game, you're giving away a rare $2 bill to buy a video game. Nah. I was like, I don't care. I had just enough money to get it, and it was right there. It was on sale, no less. So I'm like, I gotta have it. It has to be mine. I will do whatever I have to get this game. And I got it. Now, what I was confused about when I got into Kingdom Hearts, when I got the second game, was the organization. Because I knew that they were called Organization 13. However, what I didn't know was when I got the PS2 game, I'm like, There's only like when they first show up, there's only like I think there's only like 7 of them in the second game. I can't remember. I want to say it was 7. And I'm sitting there like, but by the time I finished Kingdom Hearts 2, I was like, hold on, wait a minute, something's not right here. It's called Organization 13, meaning there has to be 13 members. Where the heck are the rest of them? And it was around that time where I started watching AMVs. And hold on, sorry, one more. I swear, no more interruptions. Just give me a minute. I was like, okay, where are the other organization members? There's 13. There's supposed to be 13 of them, but I don't see them. So around the time I started watching, I knew this because I was watching like Kingdom Hearts AMVs, and that's when I found out about, who did I find out about? Found out about Marluxia, Larxene, and Vexen, and I was like, yeah, where are these other bros? Like, they obviously are real, so where are they? Turns out, I didn't know that there was another game, Chain of Memories, where they actually appeared in. So I found out about Marluxia, and I found about Vexen and all of them, and I'm like, oh, where are they at? They weren't in the game. I found out that they were in another game called, of course, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. So I'm like, oh. So before I got Chain of Memories, I just ended up watching like all the cutscenes on YouTube, and that's when I found out about them, and I found out, like, I'm gonna go ahead and just call it a subplot, I guess. That sounds like the correct word for it, subplot, for Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. And I found out about Naminé, and like why Sora was in the pod at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2, because I never was like, okay, but why was he in that thing? But I found out why. Because of the events that happened, and it's like, but then they're like, oh, yeah, they have no memory of that little blah in that game, and I'm just like, wait, they don't remember? So basically, that game, so I was just like, so what you're saying is Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories never really happened? And that joke just like went everywhere. I know a lot of people have made that joke, especially about, oh shoot, what game was it? They made that joke about, I think it is Chain of Memories that they made that joke about. Like, basically the contents of that game was erased. Oh, the game I'm thinking about is Sonic 06, the horrible, the really bad game that was underdeveloped because they wanted it out by Christmas of that year. That's what it was. Haha. But yeah, that's where I first heard about that joke. But yeah, I was just like, does it really? Okay. I kind of accepted it, even though later on I was just like, none of this makes any sense. Why does he need to forget? It's like, if you don't know, Kingdom Hearts is just like a cornucopia of mess. And it's just like, we have a very, like, our character has to be as complicated as we possibly can make him, because, just because. We want a very intricate character, and all of that blah, and all the games now, like, the games, like, don't get me wrong, the games are still good. I still like the games. I love the games. Like, I just recently got a PS4, and I'm gonna get the complete version of that too, and I'm gonna get all the games that are gonna come out, like Kingdom Hearts 3, whenever they decide to release that out, and all that nonsense. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts is a good game, and like I said, it was one of the first things where I decided to write a fanfiction about it, and that one has been done forever. If anyone wants to like kind of read my old fanfictions, feel free to go onto fanfiction.net, because obviously that's where they are. My profile name is Merrick Female Double. Yep, I'm not even kidding. Merrick female double, and you'll see, I think I have like 5 fan fictions on there right now. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts is one of them. There is a name for it, but there is an actual title that I gave it, but I can't remember what it was. But trust me, if you look up Merrick female double, you will find it. And I mean, personally, I think it's actually pretty good. I did go back and a while back, I did go and like tweak it and like just like fix some of the vocabulary and the dialogue and kind of some of the plot that kind of happens, how it leads up to certain things. And because yeah, my first time writing fan fiction, I was just writing it. How I got that started was, at first I started in high school, where it was just like kind of me going through all of, basically it was just going to be me, I just replaced Sora, and it was just like me going through all the levels of Kingdom Hearts, like going like through actual Disney World, like Hercules and Little Mermaid and all that. But then I let someone read it, and they kind of suggested like, this is good, but try making it your own. Don't put it like actually in the game. Just like put it in the world, but make your own character and your own, I already made my own characters, like make your own storyline and your own plot. And I'm like, thanks, that's actually really good advice. I will do that. And so one morning I was walking to the bus, and I was like walking to the bus stop, and I'm sitting here like imagining who my character is, where did she come from, how did the Keyblade appear to her, and pretty much just the whole thing of that is just like what I gave my character the backstory of, she's from a remote native island that was destroyed, and she came to the city, and she was found by Ansem the Wise, who took her in and raised her as his own daughter. Well, the castle at one point is under attack, and she's trying to find, and Ansem the Wise he's disappeared. She doesn't know where he is. He's gone. But yeah, he's gone, and she can't find him. And she gets attacked by the Heartless, but then her Keyblade, which is what I'm working on right now, actually appears to her, and she basically is like, what is this thing? But realizes that she can fight with it. And I honestly, my character, I designed the Keyblade around my character because I gave her the ability, basically she can see the heart's purest form. Like, all the feelings that we keep inside, she can see. Because she can see within the minds of your heart. So that's pretty much where her powers come from. And that power is perceived within her Keyblade. And I've always thought if this was kind of like what's an OC called when it's overpowered? Oh, Mary Sue. I thought it was kind of a Mary Sue thing where her Keyblade also has the ability to, when she defeats a Heartless, she can collect the heart and kind of preserve it back to its purest form. That's pretty much what I had it do. Again, this is just me creating a plot for my character for the first time, and I had fun with it. Livy. Sorry, dog again. That's the whole thing on it. And like I said, when you start writing fan fiction for the first time, it's kind of interesting, just how it all turns out, because it's just yeah, I made this thing, and you don't know if it's good, and you keep making it, hoping that it is good, and even if it's not, I mean, you still kind of have fun. That's what drawing and writing is, basically. It's just honestly having as much fun as you can with your subject and what you know. Just have fun with it, and pretty much the rule of thumb of drawing. You just have fun with it. And I mean, everyone starts somewhere, so just start from the bottom, work your way up. And what's actually the fun thing about starting from the bottom is when you look back, when like you see where you are now, and you like basically when you start out and then work your way up, and like look at and then like go back, basically you get to look back at your old sketches and your old sketchbooks and see how far you have come with drawing. I recently did that, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it's cringing. It's very extremely cringy when you find old sketchbooks, you look through them, and you're just like, oh my god, I can't believe people thought that this was good. Or like you're sitting there and you're drawing it and you're like, oh, this is the coolest thing I've ever drawn, it looks so good. And you look back like about 10 or 15 years later and you're just like, oh my god, this is what I thought was good. This is like, you can see all of the flaws in it. You can see all the, it's like your hands are bigger or smaller than what you thought originally. The body type looks weird. Like the eyes are too big and all of that. It's honestly really fun to like kind of sit there and poke fun at yourself for like how bad you started out and it's like where you are now. And the other fun thing with that is what you can do is just like look through your sketchbook, take a drawing and recreate it, redraw it like with the skills that you have now. And then if you want to color it, like if it's not colored, you can color it. I did that with one of my pictures. I found an old sketch of mine from an old sketchbook, and it wasn't even like finished color. Like it wasn't fully like finished coloring. Like I had one of my characters were colored. I'm sorry, both of my characters were colored, but one of the characters' legs were the only things that weren't colored. And I was just like, I knew where I was going with it. So what I ended up doing was taking that picture and recreating it. So I ended up taking the picture and I sketched it over again. I was originally, when I finished it, was going to like color it on my computer, but then I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Instead, I am just going to, what am I trying to say? I'm just gonna like color it in crayon, and that's exactly what I did. So I colored it in crayon, and I haven't posted on DeviantArt yet, but if you follow me on, I've posted on Instagram, I think I posted on Tumblr. If anyone has a Tumblr account and they follow me, I posted it there. Of course, Facebook and Twitter. Yeah, I posted it like on those 3 platforms. And it was really, I scanned both of the pictures in and I put them side to side. And even when I finished, before I posted, I just sat there and stared at it. I'm just like, wow. Like, what I have now is like so much better than what I had back then. And it's just like, I know probably in a couple of years, I'll be able to look back at the redrawn picture and probably make it even better. And like I said, that's the fun part of like growing as like an artist of like any kind. Going back and looking at your old stuff and like recreating it. I never really thought to do that until I watched, if anyone's familiar with Draw with Jazza, I don't know if I should be plugging him. I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble, but I mean, I'm not, like, he's really good. He's a really good artist and he's a really good YouTuber. He does like so many cool stuff, so much cool stuff with art. And one of his videos, he went back and looked through all of his old art from like when he was in high school, middle school, and all that. And he went and recreated one of his pictures. And it was actually really cool just to see like he said it was like a 15-year gap between the picture he drew when he was younger to like what he did now. And it was just like really amazing, and that's what kind of inspired me to actually take one of my old sketchbooks. Now it took me forever because I only have 3 of my old sketchbooks. 3 or 4 of my old sketchbooks, and I went through the three sketchbooks I had throughout high school. I went through those 3 specifically. I have the other sketchbooks are from when I was in college, but they were too close to like the style that I have now, so I'm just like not really gonna use those. I just like went and used the ones from high school, because those are the ones that I kind of remembered were kind of super bad or not as refined. But like I said, it was really super fun to go and recreate that, just like recreate everything. And I was while I was looking through my old stuff, I remember that half of the stuff I drew were stuff that I had planned to like write a story on, but I only drew the pictures, and I never got around to like actually writing the story. I just ended up drawing them, just like drawing the pictures and the characters. And I mean, that's always fun too. I mean, I have a lot of characters that I have no story for. Like, well, I'm not gonna say no story. They have background stories. Like, I have like a background story for them, but they're not in a specific like story that I am working on, nor like I don't know if I will use them. I mean, I'm working on a comic right now, and I think honestly it would be kind of fun to use them as like maybe background characters. And I mean, you don't like, I always thought whenever I drew a character I had to like have a story for them. I do make background stories for some of my characters. Not all of them, some of them. And I'm just like, nah, I learned that I can just draw a character for fun. And that's what I did. I drew a character I draw characters for fun, and that's all it's about. It's all about fun, just good wholesome fun. And it's fun to start out. Well, okay, no, I lied. It's not really that much fun to start out, because you never really know where to go with it. But I mean, once you get your feet wet a little bit, it's always fun to try to improve and just see where you can go with it and how far you can go with it. And once you're like halfway there, you're like, this is good. I like where I am. Yeah, I should have opened with this, but I didn't really think about it. This entire picture is actually kind of based off of, of Konata from Lucky Star, an official picture of her sitting in a room with all kinds of anime memorabilia. There's like, she has it's her sitting in a room. She has in one of her eyes, she has the Geass from Code Geass, and then she's got the mark of Alan Walker from D. Gray Man, and around her she also has Edward's mechanical arm, and she has a Death Note next to her, and she has like a bunch of like anime memorabilia, because if anyone is familiar with Lucky Star, they know how much of an otaku Konata is, and how she is one of my spirit animals. And that was actually my computer background screen for a while, because I'm just like, this is me. I was like, this is me. So I was just like, this is actually really cool. And I didn't get to like start working on it just like until recently. This picture, by the way, is like I said, this is one of my past hairstyles. This picture's old. Like, not too old. I drew this picture back in June. I remember, because it's in one of my it's in one of the sketchbooks I just recently finished or filled up. But yeah, this is a few months. This picture is only a few months old. I had meant to like do a live stream of this, but around the time I was getting ready to do it, my computer finally decided to go and die off on me, and I couldn't do it, and I had to wait a while didn't really wait a while. I pretty much right when I got back, like about a week after I came back from vacation, because my old computer crapped out on me just as I came back from visiting my dad and my sisters for like a family reunion with that side of the family, and it decided to just crap out. And I was like, ugh, great, now I have to get a new computer. And so like I just went with Risk. I had spent a while looking for like the perfect computer, and I found this one, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna get it. Like, I'm just gonna pick up my paycheck, and I'm just gonna get this computer. So that's what I did. I picked up my paycheck from my job that I had at the time, and I bought this computer. The price of it did set me back a bit, but I mean, I'm resourceful. I managed to get through, but it was worth it. I've learned to try to take a few more risks in life. Take a few risks, do this, do that, all that jazz. You only live once, right? Ha 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 ha. Yeah, I can talk about like almost every anime that I'm into and just like talk about why I love it. But I mean, anime in general, this is actually kind of a funny topic because one of my old roommates in college, she had a friend over who I found out went to high school with me. I just didn't notice him because he was part of the crowd that kind of just didn't really pay that much attention to me, but they all knew that I was really good at drawing, and they all knew me as like just the weird drawing girl who drew a lot along with me and the rest of my other friends. Anyway, he asked me why I was into anime, and honestly that is kind of, I don't want to say it's a loaded question, but honestly it does make you think when you just sit there and just like, so you just sit there enjoying something and all of a sudden someone comes up to you and it's like, why do you like this stuff? And it's like, that is a very good question. It's not like having you think about, oh god, what am I doing with my life? It's more of you actually, like, you sit there and enjoy something, and it's not until depending on what it is, it's not until someone asks you why you like the things you like. It's not, and can't really say it's because of like, it's like you like it just because, or any of that. I told him because my answer to him was because I like the character designs, and I like the types of stories that anime has, because anime is, I'm just gonna say it, my personal, like, thinking back at it now, I think honestly the reason I like anime is because anime is very bold. I'm not, like, American shows are bold as well. They touch on everything. But honestly, I think anime takes it one step further for some reason. That's just how I feel. Anime is able to take that extra step that most American cartoons or shows are too afraid to take. A lot of like American shows like to poke at real life and like deal with real life issues, and that's always a good thing, because like a lot of shows these days touch on really extremely hard topics that a lot of people are too afraid to talk about, and it kind of gets them thinking. And I don't know, anime somehow manages to do that, but with a little bit of a twist in that they put characters in very, very interesting situations. And they basically, I honestly think anime does like extremely well with character development. I'm gonna say it, they do it a little bit better than American shows. Because if an anime, here's the thing, if an anime is done right, if any cartoon is done right, they're going to really hit you hard with a character's backstory. They're going to give you their backstory. They're going to give you their ambitions, that character's goal. They're basically going, like, that's one of the, like, a lot of people, animation is hard. And like, when it comes to like animation and storytelling put together, the hardest thing, honestly, is giving a fictional character a true personality, one that fans can relate to. Like, making a fictional cartoon character relatable is very hard, but when done right, I mean, it hits you. I mean, seriously, I'm not gonna be the only one who's experienced this, but I mean, when I watch let's take Pokemon for example. Pokemon, what is it about? It's about a boy who wants to be a Pokemon master. Ash wants to be the greatest Pokemon master, and that's who he is. That's the first thing he says. I'm gonna be the greatest Pokemon master. You are with him on this journey. You go with whatever they feel you feel, and that's how anime, like that's how shows are. They want you. You have to like be immersed in the show. When the first Pokemon movie that came out, I'm not gonna lie, I cried. Yeah, when everyone knows the part where Ash tried to stop Mew and Mewtwo from their battle because he couldn't take them fighting, he couldn't take all the Pokemon fighting, and that beautiful, beautiful song that came on. I have to look that up now because that's gonna go on my iPod. But when he like yells for them to stop and he gets in the middle of their psychic blast and turns to stone, that hit me. What hit me the most, and everyone else, and you know it's true. We're getting misty-eyed now. When Pikachu tried to shock him back to life, it didn't work. He starts crying. Pikachu starts crying. As like, oh god, Pikachu is actually crying. And if you know, like, the first episode that Pikachu did not like Ash, but then they go on this adventure and they become friends. It's like, oh no, Pikachu's crying. I'm gonna cry. And all of a sudden, all of the Pokemon start crying. You see freaking Charizard crying, and Charizard really, really had a vendetta against Ash. And you see him and all the Pokemon and all the clones are crying and like their tears are bringing him to life. That was super emotional. I mean, it's like, honestly, that's what I like anime, because honestly, I was sitting there watching and it's like, I honestly would have done the same thing. I would have gotten in the middle of them and stopped them from fighting. It's like, anime and TV shows pull at the heartstrings. But yeah, the age-old question, why I like anime. They're intricate, the stories that they tell are entertaining. Just gonna say that. They are entertaining, and they just go far and beyond. They go far and beyond our expectation, because anime has twists and turns. You think it's gonna take you in one direction, and all of a sudden, bam, takes you in another direction. You're like, whoa, what happened? How did we get here? Who's this guy? New guy coming in? Oh no, it's the guy that we knew from before. We just didn't know what his true intentions were. It's like, that's the sum of it. It's like all kinds of, like, there's like a plot twist everywhere you look. Everywhere you look, like, the creators like pull you in another direction. And it's not just, like I said, it's not just with anime. It's with every TV, it's with like pretty much every show that you watch. It's not like you're expecting a plot twist, but you're expecting something. You're expecting something to happen. You're expecting them to drop a bombshell. Not on, like, in a certain, like, at a certain part. A character says something, and you expect them to react a certain way. And when they don't, and they react a completely different way and reveal something, you're just like, whoa, did that just happen? And then what do the creators do? They're like, oh, sorry, it's like, oh, sorry, you gotta wait another week or two to get the answer to that. And you're like, oh, come on. That's the other thing I like about anime. It keeps me in anticipation. It keeps me on my feet. It keeps me on my feet. When a new series comes out and I have to wait an entire week for the next episode, I'm just like, okay, I know what's gonna, well, it's like, it's just fun to come up with different scenarios in your head of what's going to happen, or like discuss it in a forum or with your friends. Just like, hey, I think this is gonna happen. You're like, nah, this is what's gonna happen. It's like, no, you're both wrong. It's gonna happen like this. And all of you are just trying to make up your own little theories of what you guys think is gonna happen. It just brings up a bunch of interesting discussion. And like I said, anime is just about a collective group of people just coming together and enjoying it. So yeah, like I said, that is a loaded question, but I mean, the best thing to do is to just stop and really truly think about why you like anime or why you like the shows that you like, and roll with it. I mean, like what you like. I mean, it's not like anime fans do criticize other fans, other anime lovers for watching certain animes. We have our own little critics on the inside, but you know what? Don't even worry about them. Like, if you do decide to get into anime, ask for recommendations. If you know friends who watch anime and all that, have them give you like recommendations of what shows to watch. Trust me, you'll be surprised at the type of anime that you didn't think you were gonna like, and that you do. And later on, when you get into, like, especially when you're younger and you slowly get into anime like I did, and all of a sudden someone just asks you, just really think about all the anime that you've seen, the type of genre that you yourself are interested in, and that answer will honestly come to you faster than you expect. It's actually turning out pretty good, guys. I'm really glad I can share this with all of you. I'm sorry for all of the technical blah-de-blah that happened, and we're just gonna finally do the shading. Yeah, I'm really hoping I was able to entertain all of you. Again, talking about feedback, if I could have feedback, critical feedback on this video and what I can do to improve, feel free to leave a comment. And if you can also if you want to follow me for more speed paints, that'd be great. I'm trying to be as frequent with them as possible, but I don't know, my recording thing is been kind of wonky because it's on the hard drive of my old computer, and I'm currently in the process of ordering a external hard drive that's like 1 terabyte, which I've heard is actually pretty good. So I'm gonna look into that, and once I get everything, I'm also gonna organize all of my stuff on my flash drive, and when I say that, I mean try to free up some space. And once I do that, I will actually start doing live streams, and I'll let you know whenever I start doing those, so I can personally take you on a little bit of a journey and a little bit more into my life. I think I've covered pretty much the majority of stuff here. So I said at the beginning that there was one thing out of all of this anime stuff, all this anime that's around me, that there was one that not a lot of people were gonna really get. So the thing, drumroll please, the thing in this room that no one would know where it's from is this jar. This jar is from the Shantae game from the on the Nintendo Switch. Not a lot of people will recognize it because it's not that really big of a thing, but the jar contains in the game contains a snake woman named Tiki, who in the game you can buy and trade abilities that Shantae gets, and you just pretty much talk to her and she trades you different abilities. Like, she can turn into you can have Shantae turn into a crab for going underwater, or a monkey to jump and stuff. But yeah, that's what that's from. A lot of you will probably recognize it also because I actually did a speed paint of Tiki because I loved her design, and I did that and I included the jar. And also finally there's my little girl. Here's my little girl, Taco! All of that. Well, I may add few extra details on this, maybe not. I actually think it looks pretty good the way it is. There's me and my cute anime-ness. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, leave a comment down below, and also if you want to subscribe for more of my content, like I said, I'm gonna try to do my best to post as often as I can with my job and everything else. I don't know, I've been trying to get back into the habit of doing a making a video making at least 2 videos twice a month. I'm gonna try and get back into that after the holiday season. Yeah, this is my picture. I hope everyone enjoyed. I hope everyone enjoyed me babbling, and I hope you all were as entertained as possible. I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Just keep being weird and keep being awesome, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!